Hello, you're welcome back. I'm still treating bearings and distances. I have another question on the board. Two men P and Q set off from a base camp are prospecting for oil. P moves 20 kilometers on a bearing of 205 degrees and Q moves 15 kilometers on a bearing of 060 degrees. We have to calculate the distance of Q from P, bearing of Q from P. The answers will be given to the nearest whole number. So we start. I don't know. Solution. Now we try to draw and represent the base camp. In order not to squeeze it too much, let's go up. So okay. Now, as usual, this is my north, south, east, west. Okay, going back to the question, he moves 20 kilometers on a bearing of 205 degrees. 205, you start from here, 90, 180, 205 will be within this. So let's take it to be this. Okay. That means we are talking of from here to this line. And remember that the origin is R. P moves to that direction. This should be our P. This should be P. And then Q moves 15 kilometers on a bearing of this. Meanwhile, this is 20 kilometers. And then the other one is 60. So let's take this to be our 60. And let's take this to be Q. Now, this is our 060 degrees. Then, the first question is calculate distance of Q from P. In other words, we are to join so we join this. So this is our 15 kilometers, and then we are now looking for QP. Okay, so as we know earlier, this should be our small r. That side facing capital R is our small r. Now, moving on, we have to find the distance of Q from P. So here, that means we have to use cosine rule. Cosine rule. That is, we have two sides and one angle. How can we find our angle R? To find angle R, you have to subtract 60 from 205 because 205 is from here to this line, while only from here to here is 60 degrees. So that means 205 minus 60. That will give us 5. This is 4, and that is 1. So we have 145 degrees as the value of our angle R. Therefore, R, the angle, is 145 degrees. As we have seen, I have calculated it. So we are going to be using it to calculate. Now the next step is to go ahead and calculate the distance Okay, so we have r squared is equal to p squared minus, p squared plus q squared minus 2p pq cos r, cos r. So that means r squared should be equal to, remember that our p is 15, our small p, 15 squared plus our small q, 20 squared minus 2 times 15 times 20 cos 145, and that is 225 plus 400 minus, you check the calculation using your calculator, and that is 225 400 minus 600, then multiplied by cos 145 is minus 0 8192, and then that will now give us, if you add, that will give us 225 plus 400 plus, because this and this will change to plus, and then if you carry out the multiplication, that will give us 491.49, 491.49. Okay, now you add everything, it then means that our r squared is 116.49. Therefore, r equal to, you find the square root of this value, and that will be 1116.49. If you carry out the, if you find the square root, that will give us 33.41. 33.41. But to the nearest whole number, that would be 33 kilometers. So that is about that, and then we have succeeded in getting the value of r. That's the distance of q from p. Therefore, distance of q from p is equal to 33 kilometers. So we can now go ahead and find the bearing of q from p. Remember that bearing of q from p, you still start from the north, from here to the line joining q. So that is the bearing of q from p. Now, in order to get that, remember the whole of this, from here to this is 180. That is, from here to this line is 180. But from here to here, or from the beginning to the end here, is 205 degrees. So we have to subtract 180 from 205 to get this small angle. That means 205, 180, that will give us this is 5 and this is 2. So 25 degrees. But remember, this is alternate. This angle here is alternate to this. That means this line is parallel to this line, which means that this angle is alternate to this, and which means they must be equal. So if this is 25, this will also be 25 degrees. So take note of that because we are going to use it. Now, but we don't know this angle, which we can call angle P. We don't know angle P, but we can find it. So let us go ahead and find it. And in that case, I think we can use sine rule because we already know this, we know this, we know this and we don't know this. So we can continue by saying R over sine R is equal to what? P over sine P. That is this over sine this. We are looking for theta. And that means that we are now talking of R is 33, or we can use either 33 or let's use 33. That means 33 over sine 145 is equal to 15 all over sine P. So we cross multiply, and if we cross multiply, we are going to have, to cross multiply, we are going to have 33 sine P equal to 15 sine 145. So that sine P is equal to 15 sine 145 degrees all over 33. Then we go back to our table. We'll try to calculate. So that will give us, okay, maybe let us just use our 33.41. That is 33.41. The answer we got before. And then we use it to divide. Okay. So let's continue. This will give us the 3.41. Yes. So this one will give us 15 times sine 145 is 0.5736. 0.5736. We are dividing by 33.41. And then that means we are talking of sine P now. So that will lead us to 8.604. 8.604 we are dividing by 33.41. So if you carry out the division, it means that will give us 0.2575. So sine P is this. Therefore, sine inverse P is equal to, you find the sine inverse of 0.2575. And if you do that, you are now going to have 14.92. 14.92 degrees, approximately equal to 15 degrees. Okay, but that is not the bearing. So coming back to this side, remember the bearing of Q from P is from this north to the line joining Q. So remember, this is 25. We have calculated this to be 15. Bearing of Q from P should now be equal to 25 plus 15. 25 degrees plus 15 degrees. And that will give us 040 degrees. That is 25, 15, 0, 4. So that is 040 degrees. So we have succeeded in calculating the bearing of Q from P as well as the distance of Q from P. So that's the end of the lesson. I would like you to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If there's any question, you put it in the comment section so that I will look at it and then find solution to it in my next video. Thank you.